moving away from the players into the coaching carousel a little bit. Mike Woodson, longtime NBA assistant, occasional NBA head coach, um, has decided to has agreed to a deal to coach for Indiana University.
I'm mad you
And
call that man an occasional head coach.
I'm,
That's how
I don't
net
know, like I'm pretty
why dudes
like
be saying slick things. Childish.
no, it's just like he's had he had like two head coaching stints, and like he's otherwise basically just been like a career assistant.
Occasional slick things.
But no, in full seriousness though,
I'm just gonna stand in. He a substitute coach. Disrespectful.
no, but full seriousness though, I I'm not really sure how like good for him, for deciding to try coaching college ball. But like I don't know, it's just if I would think that like if you're like Indiana or somebody, right? Like it seems kind of a strange pickup. Like I suppose it's like a medium risk, potentially high reward if like it turns out he's a better college coach than a pro coach. Um,
I
but
mean,
like,
Johnson's been doing his thing, right?
hmm?
Avery Johnson's been doing his thing, right? I mean, minus the upset.
Nah, he's not coaching Bama no more. He hasn't played the last 2 years.
Oh, so he. Never mind. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
You proving I'm proving you right.
Um, but like Woodson just hasn't been a good NBA. Like his record is he's under 500. Like as a head coach.
Honestly, just might be a old dude who we want to not travel so much no more. You know what I mean? And he's Indiana was his
Then is,
alma mater. He
but
wanted to
like is
stay
college
put.
coach really the answer for that though?
I mean, it's better than the league. You know what I mean? It's better
Like
than 82 games each every other day, flying coast to coast. He might just want to be
it's
chilling.
like it's like there are fewer games, yeah, but like there's recruiting. And
Yeah, you
like
got.
he's at a national school.
Let's
He gets to go all over the country for
let's not
that.
pretend. They got some coaches use their assistant coaches a lot more than others. Look, there are some head coaches that they'll go out there and they'll see the top three or four or not even three or four, two or three people that they're highly recruiting. But after that, you're gonna see them assistant coaches out there speaking up for the coach. Like he might be one of them. You know what I mean? Like now we just gotta see, right? But he probably just using his NBA resume for a little bit of clout to go out there into to go into Indiana. He's like, it's my old alma mater. He's doing all he can to stay more stationary than you would be as assistant coach in the NBA. And I guarantee getting paid handsomely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably getting paid well, but it's just like if maybe it's just me. I'm not like as far as like if we're talking like as a head coach, his resume isn't what you really like. It's not much to brag about, is what I'm saying.
He a coach of the
Like
league. He can brag enough, apparently.
Right?
I
Apparently,
guess,
he
Going
got
in
some
on this man.
and you
and
know that also. Let's not get it twisted. He a black man. They checking boxes.
And this is after Indiana has been kind of scrubby. Like they can't even recruit for real in their own state. Like I don't think this. I don't think this is gonna be good.
they like I don't know the working world in setting up black leadership to fail.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
I can't wait to see how he does on the recruiting trail. To be honest with you, I feel like that's where it all makes sense, especially when you have that trickle down. Like if you come from the NBA with that lore, like you should be able to get somebody at least in that first year or two. You can lie to somebody. You can sweet talk them and tell them. You can sweet talk them, tell them. You got Penny. Uh,
I,
congratulations on the win.
oh yes, they won the NIT.
But like if he does not recruit well within like the first 2 years, we really got to see what he does with the talent that's there at Indiana because they're not a awful team.
Well, like I guess if I'm expressing concern, like off of his NBA record, which in fairness, as we've stated before, a lot of that is just like whether or not your GM is any good at his job. Um, it's like that, like you would look at it and express some concern about whether or not he'd be a good X's and O's guy. Now, whether or not he'd be a good development guy is something you that's not necessarily going to show. Um, but like that would be part of the concern.
Yeah.
Um, Also, Shaka Smart is now the head coach for Marquette, uh, which
Congratulations.
he was not like it's like he was not fired. He left, which which is fine. Like a lot of his players would be graduating and otherwise like leaving for the league and whatever. So I to some degree, get out while the getting's good, I suppose. And like they've wanted your head for forever and a day anyway. Like
Yeah. For like the past like
which
3 years.
I've never completely understood, but
Uh,
it's just
can I
like this is
can I tell you what it is from like the Texas
yeah.
brass?
Go ahead, yeah, sure.
They believe they supposed to win way more than they are. Like they think they're like top 2 or 3 in the Big 12 in just about every sport. So when they don't have that type of success, you're out of there. But y'all, it's just not that school.
This is what I heard. This is what I also actually heard a similar thing recently when in Kansas City they were for St. Patrick's Day they were calling it St. Patrick's Mahomes Day, which is whatever, have your own opinion. But they on the radio they were talking to his old high school football coach, and they were like talking about like how he went to Texas Tech and like just like the lure of Austin, Texas, though, right? University of Texas. And the guy was like, he was just like the lure and the aura of like Texas, the University of Texas, is not what it once was at all. And the University of Texas has yet to realize that that like people are just fine going to Texas A&M or TCU or Texas Tech or wherever, right? In Texas, for instance,
Right.
and they don't have like that they're not on a pedestal like they were in I don't know the 80s or the 90s or whatever it is. But like the alumni and the funders and all kind of stuff just don't realize that. And it's like step up. You know what I mean? Like it's modern times.
Yeah, they're stubborn, bro. That's like the whole thing with the Eyes of Texas stuff. Like them not trying to change the school song, even though they've had recruits tell them, if the song wasn't what it is, there's probably a better chance of me coming here.
What's up with the song?
Like
I believe the tune is based off of a minstrel song.
oh,
Like yeah, like it's a Texas school and it's one of the first Texas schools. So 1800s type stuff. So it's a lot of goofiness to go along with going to the University of Texas. Like I don't know if y'all noticed like since Shaka Smart's moving, they've already lost a recruit in Tamar Bates who plays for Montverde. Or is it IMG?
Who's gonna be their like head coach? You think?
I don't know,
like,
and I don't care.
Here's the thing, right? So they apparently parted. My understanding, right, is like they parted with Rick Barnes and were upset with Shaka for basically the same reason. That reason basically being struggles in March, ultimately, right? And like, and like, I I think I've seen the question of why didn't Shaka bring like Havoc stuff or whatever to Texas, and apparently part of the reason is like the players that he can get at Texas aren't don't want to buy into that, like to do what you would need to do that. But also like it's just like one of the things with him over at Texas during his tenure is just like I think this was the first year where like the team's been healthy for real. Like it's also like his first team that was actually like old, where like you had a bunch of seniors and stuff for real. But it's also his first one where like nobody like got injured or like some wild stuff happened or whatever in the middle of the season or like before the season started. Um, and like I think I also kind of feel like people don't make proper mental adjustments for certain situations when like trying to calibrate or come up with an idea of how much things matter, right? Because like Texas lost to what Albion Christian in the first round of the tournament a couple weeks ago, and like I get that like they should have been able to win a game against some smaller school or what have you. They were one of the best teams in the country all year, pretty much. But it's also just like as far as like the risk of losing to like the ease of winning to like the perception of how easy it should be to win the game. A game against a smaller in-state program that is halfway decent is like the perception of how easy it should be for them to win is miles apart from like how easy the game would actually be because they're going to show up for the game and they were already a decent team to begin with. But like so like they're going to show up, they're going to do what they do, and they just don't like you, right? They just don't. So like the idea, and like to me, like the idea, and why it's probably why them big schools don't play those games for real because the little school is going to play harder. They're going to want it more. They're gonna go for 50-50 balls and try and drain every single shot. So like I wouldn't put too much stock in that one for me personally, right? Just because of the understanding that. Um, but they wanted him gone for a while, and like I don't know. It's just like, what are y'all expecting to happen? It's just like you, and so in fairness, it's the confusion I have for them doesn't extend like I have for Illinois with football. Where like I'm not sure what you're expecting because you're only good like once a decade. Um, but it's still just kind of like is Texas. It's just like they consistently field good teams. I get that you don't have the success in March that you would like, but like at a certain point, I'm just kind of like, what are you expecting? Like at a certain point, you would think, because like the thing with March is like there are a million and one things that can go wrong to keep you from getting anywhere for real. And even if you want to be like, oh, maybe Shaka's just not that good in March, maybe he's not, but it's kind of it seems like one of those things where it's just like you didn't have much success with him in March. You didn't have much success the last guy or two in March. And like mind you, he's actually been doing good. They've recruited well. Like the team, even though like I guess they consider to have underperformed for various reasons, a number of which were outside of Smart's control personally, but like they've been good teams.
Yeah.
And like it is and I think it's and I don't know, maybe they try and like find somebody to get like Beard isn't about to leave Texas Tech, but like that's my understanding. Like if there's a dude they offer, it's probably a dude they try and get. But I think his buyout is like 7 mil or something. It's something big because of course it'd be big because the administration at Texas Tech isn't stupid. But um, it's just but it'd be one of those things where it's just like kind of with Calipari at Kentucky outside of this season. It's just like outside of like giving you like putting you in the position that you really want to be in to be competitive for these things. Like there's not a whole lot more you can ask from a coach for real. Like you can ask for more, and like teams do. It's like hey, he's spent 3 years only like with like not never making out of the first weekend, but it's just like most coaches don't. Most coaches aren't even in the tournament. Like um, but he left. He was smart about it. He left before they fired him or what have you. He's going to Marquette, which is a smaller program, but he'll probably be able to get dudes who buy more into like what he does, and be able to over recruit for whatever you consider Marquette to be.
Yeah.
So like it's a really good, like it was a smart move for him, and a smart move for Marquette. There's not really any downside for them. Texas without a coach, and they will have hope until they get frustrated with the next guy. Like a bunch of these programs that that have these super high expectations that constantly flounder do. Just going from coach to coach. Um, but maybe for all we know, Texas gets a dude and like he's the guy and he brings them to the promised land. But
No,
like, oh no, he won't. He won't. But maybe. Like it's technically possible, right? Anything is a possibility until like
that
it
option
doesn't
does
happen.
exist. Yes.
But but like I'm all like just me personally, I'm not really sure who you go out and get if you were them. Because like I would assume you'd want somebody who's won in March, but like dudes don't get those jobs if they didn't win in March.
Get Sister Jean.
But like she actually that well
Huh? Huh?
when you get in trouble she calls Jesus. Just like look, Jesus, they're acting up again. Like get them right for me. And he just like comes down, no questions asked. But like the issue with that though is just like the issue like it'd be a recruiting issue because like she's super old. Like what if like y'all like practice about to start, she just doesn't show up one day? Actually, that got super
All
dark.
right.
I take it back. I take it back. God, that got super dark. But
Left turn. Left turn.
but but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Smart does. It'll be interesting to see how Woodson does, and like the coaching carousel will probably start spinning here in a little bit. I think in some cases it has, but like I don't know what to tell you with some of it, and some of it's kind of wait and see. I'm sure. Once again, Calvin McGowan, hope you enjoyed yourself. Um, if you are watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, leave something in the comments. Um, you can also listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You made it this far, once again, thank you. I hope you got a lot done of whatever it was you were working on while listening to this. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.